What is the biggest money mistake you see people making right now in 2026?
It's the same money mistake that people have made for hundreds of years. They buy things they can't afford. There's a difference between social media wealth and real wealth.
What made you get into the financial industry?
I want to be able to have that for me and be able to teach other people about that. That's interesting. Success is not having lots of money. Success is having success in all the core areas of life.
What mindset do you need to have to obtain wealth?
All of them have this unrelenting belief that they're going to win.
All right, I have a very special guest today, Landon Meadows. He is a financial advisor, and I have been waiting for this. Especially me as a business owner, I have a lot of questions whenever it comes to finance. I am good at my industry. I know what to do. However, whenever it comes to the complexity of how to maintain, secure, and have just the stress-free of where my finance is going as I'm paying my team, obviously, wanting to expand further within the business, making sure I pay myself accordingly, and then, of course, don't even get me started with taxes.
Mhm.
There's so much to be able to break down. So in this podcast, I took the most important questions that we've gotten from viewers and as well as just myself personally that will truly give you the clarity when it comes to managing your finances if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or just looking to have some more perspective from an expert. So Landon, I'm really great. I'm excited to have you on and let's get into it. So
Thank you. That might be the best introduction I've ever had, by the way. And if only I could walk into every room and before I walk in, you just speak to the room to let them know I'm coming.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
I'll be your MC. Not a problem whatsoever. So, let's get down to the first and most important question that everyone is always asking about.
Okay.
And let's make it a little bit broad when we go to this. What is the biggest money mistake you see people making right now in 2026?
I mean, it's the same money mistake that people have made for hundreds of years. They buy things they can't afford.
Mm.
So when you look at wealthy people, they buy expensive things, but they have the money to buy them. Poor people buy expensive things that they don't have the money to buy. And mismanaging your cash flow, increasing your debt, having things cost more expensive than they actually are, it crushes people's finances. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say I buy a $10,000. What was that bag that you guys were talking about? The Hermes bag.
It sounds like you're saying Hermes.
So
a little bit.
Well, so you have to buy a Hermes bag for $28,000. Okay, a wealthy person buys it for $28,000. They pay cash. They buy it. Now let's say somebody who can't afford the Hermes bag, they pay $28,000. Put it on a credit card. Okay, but they want to feel rich, right? They want to. Oh, look at all my friends. I have a Hermes bag, and then what they don't tell you is they get that 22 to sometimes 29% interest. And what that means that let's say they pay that off over the next year because they couldn't afford it all up front, so they pay it over a year. That $28,000 Hermes bag that one person bought, the poor person would have paid additional 30%, about $38,000 for the same thing. So they bought the same thing. One person paid an extra $10,000 more. That's because they're buying things they can't afford. And so that I see as the number one money mistake people make.
100%. And especially now, someone who runs a social media agency, we are always seeing time and time again. And I have to stop a lot of individuals, especially business owners. They're like, I need to flex, the cars, the wealth, the lifestyle. And I tell them, stop it. Because now it's oversaturated and everyone thinks that that's how you're going to build authority, build this connection, be able to be seen as a trusted leader. But it actually nowadays, 2026, it's the worst because we're in a trust recession. So it's more than ever. And, people on the outside, it looks great. On the inside.
Listen, we were talking earlier and I said, there's a difference between social media wealth and real wealth.
Yeah, 100%. Now, first, whenever we continue forward, I want to hear more about what made you get into the financial industry and started to become so wise in what you do.
Well, so I originally come from Wyoming, and I got into personal development through YouTube. I took a course. I went to a personal development seminar, and I was like eye-opened to the fact of, oh, there's all these things that are possible. Traveling the world, meeting new people, building communities, relationships, impacting other people. When in my community where I grew up in, I grew up without TV. And I never really saw what money could do for people. I never saw what wealth looked like. Then I got exposed to it and I was like, oh, I want that. I want to be able to have that for me and be able to teach other people about that. That's interesting, right?
Mhm.
And then the first lesson at the personal development seminar I went to was proximity is power.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta get
I
around
think
people.
that's so important. Yeah.
Yeah, proximity is power.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's really great. So they talk about your income is the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Mhm.
So I was thinking that thought about the 5 people I spend the most time with, and I'm like, they don't have a lot of income. I was like, okay, let me think about 5 people I know that make a lot of income.
Right.
I couldn't think of anybody. So I was like, oh man, that's a problem. And so that led to me moving to the East Coast, to the Northeast. Now I'm in New York, Westchester County. And I went from small town to now my neighbors are the Clintons. The Clintons live like a quarter mile down the street from me. And I'm like, okay, this is a totally different world. But then as I got into that world, I started to see the downsides of money. And over time, I got good mentors in my life. And it was this obsession towards finding out not just the secrets to money,
Mhm.
but the secret to wealth. Because success is not having lots of money. Success is having success in all the core areas of life.
Mhm.
Think of yourself as a high performance Ferrari.
Mhm.
Okay. You can't drive that Ferrari with 4 flat tires or with 2 flat tires. So if you think of the tires as areas of life,
Mhm.
one being finances, one being spirituality, sense of faith, one
Mhm.
being your relationships, and one being your health.
Mm.
So if you're super rich, which we all know is people that are super rich, they have no health, their kids hate them, they're on their 4th marriage, and they have no sense of faith and they're miserable and depressed. But they're a billionaire. Is that success?
Mm.
No. You can take that example for any one of those 4 areas. And it's like success is figuring out how to have balance in all 4 tires. Then you become unstoppable.
What do you define as wealth
As wealth,
or being wealthy?
being wealthy, financially, or just in general?
Just in general, what do you define?
Yeah, well, I think I define wealth, which is, first of all, that's a great question. And I think that everyone watching this video should ask themselves, what do you define as wealthy? Because if we're all trying to be wealthy, then we got to have our own definition, because my definition is different than someone else's.
Mm.
Because the technical definition of wealthy in America, someone making $40,000 a year is very, very wealthy.
Mhm.
But yet they don't think they're wealthy. Why? Because they're paycheck to paycheck, because they can't travel maybe once or twice a year.
Mhm.
For me, my target of wealth, and I don't think wealth is a target. I think it's not, are you wealthy or not wealthy? It's how wealthy are you?
It's a state of being.
It's a state of being. And I think it's more of a metric of how much impact can I make? How much joy do I experience? How much light do I bring? And when you start looking at wealth from that perspective, you start to realize money isn't necessary, but it is a magnifier.
Mhm.
And so wealth to me is being able to freely experience those things.
Beautiful. And, coming into all of what you know and how you know, what were some downfalls that have happened with going through this process that, you wish you could shine light to others about?
There's a lot.
Yeah, right?
Whenever you get to, I noticed that every successful person I've ever met
Mhm.
is their mountain of success is built on their failures.
100%, yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So one of the biggest mistakes I made was I had a real estate mentor, and have you ever heard of the concept of house hacking? So you buy a multifamily home and you live in one unit, rent out the others. I thought, what could go wrong, right?
Yeah.
So when I moved across the country to New Jersey, I bought and closed on this multifamily property. I thought I was doing great. I was 20 years old. Just bought my second investment property. Starting my business. What could go wrong, right? Well, April 15th, 2020. You got June, July of 2020.
At 8 p.m.
Well,
Sorry.
I just remember the closing date because right after that, COVID happened.
Oh, okay.
And the governor of New Jersey issued an eviction moratorium saying I couldn't evict people for failure to pay rent. So what happened? They stopped paying rent. But I had to keep paying the mortgage. I ended up losing all the money I had on that property. And then I got another business opportunity when I moved from New Jersey to New York. And we lost a bunch of money on that. So everyone told me that real estate always makes money. I did my first 2 deals following a course that I purchased. I lost money on both the deals because what they don't tell you is that life gets in the way and it doesn't just happen in a box.
Right.
Then I moved to New York. And so I lost money on both those deals. They said, invest in the stock market, right? Who wants to invest in the stock market? Compound interest, right?
Yeah.
So I invested in the stock market, but then my business was struggling. In order to survive, I had to take the money back out. But it happened to be down. So I sold at the low because I had no choice. I needed income to survive. So they talked about compound interest, but nobody taught me about uninterrupted compound interest. So I lost money in stocks. People told me, hey, buy crypto, right? Well, Bitcoin over the next 10 years, Bitcoin's going to be $1 million a coin. You can't go wrong with Bitcoin.
Right.
So I bought Bitcoin. But again, financial hardships. I didn't have enough income. I didn't have a stable life. So I had to sell at the low. I lost money in Bitcoin. So all these investments, what I learned is that it's not the investment vehicle, because in all these investments, I've seen people make a lot of money, but I've also seen people lose a lot of money. So the thing that I would go back and look at is the most important thing is establish your income and your life, then add on the investments after. Because compound interest is amazing, but uninterrupted compound interest.
Amazing. Now, you're with a lot of wealthy millionaires, even billionaires. And I really do have to ask this question is, what mindset do you need to have to obtain wealth?
Oh, what mindset? Well, it depends who you ask, right? But I feel like all of them have this unrelenting belief that they're going to win.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, they just know they're going to win. My first mentor, he said, he got up on stage and he said, you know, people say like us, sometimes things go good, sometimes they go bad, whatever. He said, everything goes my way. And I remember seeing the audience, people were offended like that. Arrogant hey-hole, like everything goes, you're just saying that because you're rich and jacked and you've got 4 kids and your wife is good looking. Yeah, of course everything goes away. Like, you're such an arrogant rich, like, that's why nobody likes rich people. But then he's like, and everything can go your way too.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He said, well, let's say I face a hardship. I'll learn from it. Let's say I make a mistake. I'll learn from it and I'll get better. Let's say I get a reward. Well, then I get the reward. So no matter what happens, everything goes my way. And I think every successful person I've known, there's one common trait, as far as I know, the questions may be more around money habits, but
no, I think that's really,
they just think they're going to win. And the biggest money habit they all have, every rich person that I know makes a lot of money. So they got the income right first. And they didn't get lucky on an investment. They figured out a way to make a lot of money. And then they optimize their investments.
Right. And I think more importantly is that you have to maintain wholeness throughout any circumstance. So whether it's a failure or a success, you are still whole with or without it. Because regardless, if you think of lack, you will attract lack. So if you think that you're not going to be able to get this financial, and how he said it, I'm going to win regardless. Because more importantly, I'm going to strive for the best. And even if I fail, it's still a win. And that's, definitely the mindset to have with all of it. Because no matter what, money makes people become very emotional. They react. They start to get scarce. They start to panic. And so then their emotions hijack the true ultimate goal than actually what they're feeling. So then they change, that's like the stock market, you know, their emotions hijack to what they're trying to do. So then they're like, okay, I need to back out. But if they just waited and just actually went through the process to trust the process, knowing regardless, I'm going to make this happen, could have been a success.
Yeah. You know, I think that's very important. You mind if I do a quick exercise with you?
Yeah.
So I love doing this with people. Okay. So every time I'm talking to somebody and they're like, oh, I don't have enough money, or they're experiencing the lack. Okay. And most of the time we think we don't have enough resource. Tony Robbins says it's not a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. Okay. So I'll do this exercise, right? And I don't have a bunch of cash with me. Usually I have a lot of cash on me, but I've been traveling a lot. So what I'll do is I'll take this card, right? Well, like, no, like usually you have to have like $400 or $500 cash, and you got to have some small bills, because if you're in Eastern Florida, like in West Palm Beach and those areas, you always got to valet because there's no parking, and you always got to tip the valet. Otherwise you look cheap. And then if you're in a busy restaurant, you got to tip the hostess, so you get a seat, and then you got to tip everybody.
Yes,
like you got to carry cash when you're in Eastern Florida. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll take this card. This is my American Express Platinum card. Okay. You can take this card and you can swipe it pretty much anywhere, and it's going to go through. You can buy anything you want. And I'll give this to you.
All right.
Okay. And I tell you, okay, Bianca, for the next couple of days, you can take my card, go wherever you want. Anything you want to buy, you can buy. What's your first thought of like what you're going to go buy with that card?
It would be the Mac Mini, because I like to be able to have my computer without my laptop, so they can help me on to better productivity within my work. I've been wanting to get it, so.
Okay, great. And then what else?
Actually, like,
I mean, you can buy anything, right? You have an unlimited source of funds in your hand right now. So you have all
you
the
would
money.
buy my trip to Dubai because I'm going to a mastermind event.
Nice. Okay, so you're going to the mastermind event.
Yes.
And you might get a nicer hotel.
I would definitely get the VIP ticket. So this will be like an extra like 10 grand, and then I will get the flight but I would be helping you, because then you would get the points.
I'd get the points. Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
I'm being considerate.
Yes.
Yes. Of course.
Yes. Okay. What else would you buy?
And then so if I had it, maybe new bag.
Okay, new bag, not the Hermes bag.
No.
Okay.
Maybe another Louis Vuitton.
Another Louis Vuitton bag. Okay. Needed. Get the essentials. Okay. What else?
I don't know.
So the point is, right? You can't. Most people.
Oh, I know exactly.
What else would you buy?
Sorry, I actually wouldn't buy it for myself.
Go ahead. What would you buy?
It would literally be all my mom's medical bills, and then I would be happy as hell.
Okay.
So
great. Anything else after that? I mean, come on. You got 48 hours, unlimited money. You can buy anything else. Beautiful thing, taking care of your mom. Beautiful thing, getting a 7th Louis Vuitton bag.
Come here, and then my family and I do like a spa day or something. So I can spend time with my family, fly them here, and then just have an amazing time.
Got it. Okay.
That would make me the happiest.
That would make you the happiest.
Yeah, because like it's like I'm starting to like materialist things. I'm not very much on. I'm more of like family, knowledge. Those would be the most important thing that like I would want to take care of first, because I understand how the world works. And the thing is that God has made me whole, and everything that he has provided for us is already enough. This world. We have been gifted the opportunity of being in this world, and everything external is man-made. And so when you think that you need other situations, other materialistic things in your life, that is basically what man-made have provided for us. So it's, of course, marketing. I run a marketing agency. I know everything is just marketing that you need this. So I don't know. It's a very like
interesting.
I have like a mix of like both of everything. So
how does that feel? Thinking like, okay, I have unlimited funds.
Yeah.
What I find is so interesting about that, when you do that for people, usually it's so interesting to me. Usually you think of a couple of short-term pleasurable things that are not crazily expensive. Then usually it's a bigger purchase, right? And then it's usually an experience. And then once you pass that little bit of a barrier, it's switched. And it stopped being about you completely, and it started being about everyone else. Okay? Once it started being about you, about everyone else instead of about you, how did you feel about the money? Did you feel good or better or worse? Better, right? You felt more emotional and like, wow, that lights me up significantly more
100%.
doing those things.
Right.
Okay. The reason this exercise is interesting is because people will accept the feeling they get from the Louis Vuitton bag. And because they're willing to accept that, they never get the feeling of the more intimate things that they truly want. And so when I give people this exercise, people think they want to look cool. People think they want the status. People think they want the authority. But in reality, they want to take care of those they love.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So when you look at it from that perspective, that little exercise helps people people realize what's actually important. And that's the biggest money reframe, because now you see that bag differently. You see that bag as something that's prohibiting you from making the impact that you want to make, and something that's prohibiting you from the true joy, the true thing that lights you up.
Right. Because we're always like, we're chasing for that next item. And then in all reality, whenever you have that and you realize you just have all the money in the world, actually what truly will make you happy?
Yeah,
That's the thought that you think that it will. That's a good perspective. It's a good way that
you missed your chance with the card, by the way.
Dang it. Other time.
So hopefully that was helpful. I know it was a long illustration. Thank you for letting me share.
No, it's okay. You got dinner with that card, so no worries whatsoever. Just kidding.
Yeah.
So whenever it comes to it, what do you think that your parents had taught you about money? Do you think it was good? Do you think it was bad?
My parents taught me a lot of things about money specifically. They taught me that you have to work hard. Mm-hmm. But they also taught me some of the dangers that come from money. Mm-hmm. And some of those dangers are, it can be very big disagreements between your parents, right? It can be tools to hurt people, but it can also be tools to help people. I remember my family, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but we had enough. I lived a comfortable lifestyle, and my family showed me that even if we had like $1,000, but there was like a fundraiser or someone less fortunate than us needed like 500 or 800, we would give them the 800. And it taught me that you can be generous wherever you're at. And I think that was a really powerful lesson. It's like they had some limiting beliefs about money, but really the biggest thing I learned about money from my parents is that you can be generous wherever. So it's not about what if, it's about even if.
Mm-hmm. The more you give, you shall receive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're always scarce, you will always be in scarce.
Yeah. Think about, I love to use analogies, right? When you think about the dating concept of men and women, right? Me, I've never been good at dating. I tried when I was in high school and I got rejected a lot and friend zoned a lot. And maybe it's because I was too easily or available, right? People don't want what's easy and available. People want what they can't have, right? Mm-hmm. When someone is desperate, it doesn't come off very well. So when you're in scarcity, think of that as your desperation. So if I'm in desperately trying to sell you something, you're going to be like, no, I see right through it. But if I don't need the sale, I'm comfortable walking away from the sale, then that makes you want it. So if I'm giving without the expectation of receiving something back, it makes you more likely to give something back. Mm. And that's that concept you're talking about.
Yeah. And like, when you're discussing on that, have you ever told someone their money problem is actually a psychology problem?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. I am that guy. I'm 100% that guy. Dude, like the amount of times, okay, so people are like, oh, I just don't have enough money. It's like, you don't have enough discipline. Somebody told me the other day, they're like, when I bought this watch, actually. So I bought this watch and it was a big purchase and very expensive. And people are like, oh yeah, maybe one day I'll be able to afford a watch like that. And I'm like, hold on a second. You have 2 ATVs, a side-by-side, and a boat. Mm-hmm. So those 4 like toy vehicles cost you $4,000 a month. And you use them a few times a year in hunting season and fishing season. I'm like, if you remove that and you just rented a boat or rented a 4-wheeler when you went hunting the 2 times you did, and you took that $30,000 savings, The watch was only 18,000. You put 12,000 in your pocket and you have a Rolex. People think like buying a Rolex is this massive thing, but I told this one person, I was like, you spend more money on toys and your dream is to have this fancy watch. You don't have a money problem. You have a psychology problem. And so, yeah, I am that guy that says that.
It's good. Someone you need to put them in their place. You know, what would you say, most importantly, is the biggest financial mistake that you see a lot from 30 to 40-year-olds?
Oh, from 30 to 40-year-olds, they think they have more time than they do.
Mm.
So it reminds me of this lovely couple. They're both dentists, right? And together they make $600,000 a year. So to most people, that's a lot of money, right? And yet when they came to us, it's like, how much are you saving? We're saving $1,000 a month. 1,000. Well, what do you mean $1,000 a month? Okay, well, I mean, like we're just living our life. They travel, they live it good.
Yeah.
Okay, they're having a good time. And I'm like, but $1,000 a month, that's not a lot. Like, yeah, but I mean, we're gonna work for another 40 years, so like we'll always be able to save. If I wanted to, I could put $300,000 away in a single year. And it's like, well, wanting to and doing it are different because,
Right.
yeah, if you wanted to, you're never gonna want to. Of course, you're not gonna want to. It's like do all these trips or save.
Right.
Obviously, you want to do the trips.
Like I want to go to the gym, but like, you know, not. I'd rather enjoy my life.
Yeah, it's like I want to go to the gym, but I don't want to work out.
Yeah.
That's how most people look at money is they want to go to the gym, but they don't want to work out.
Yeah.
And then they resolve to just doing like the treadmill for 20 minutes and they're like, all right, that was enough.
So I have another question. Do you think people should actually own a home? Or is that just what's told, you know, that you should own a home?
I'll say this. This might be controversial. It depends on the person. If you're going to live in the same place for 30 to 40 years, buy a home. Okay? If you're going to be flexible, move around, you're young, you're growing, could be one of the worst mistakes. So I lost an entire year's salary because I owned a home. Think about that. When you buy a home, especially nowadays with the high interest rates and as expensive as properties are.
Yeah, crazy. And you already saw like in Florida, you know, you're here in Florida and you saw how the homes are priced. Like it's only getting up from here. And even an apartment complex, you're spending, I'm already comfortable. It's like $4 to $5 grand, you know, a month for it. It's a 1-bedroom. So I'm like, okay, that's just how it is. It's like New York as well.
Yeah. 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 I was talking to this one of our clients. He lives in Kansas and he has a 6,000 square foot house, 4-car garage, a pool on 6 acres. Okay. And his mortgage is $3,000 a month.
Are you kidding?
$3,000 a month.
Are you kidding?
His house is gorgeous. $3,000 a month.
That's crazy.
I looked and
that's wild. That's wild.
Our place is we're very conservative with where we live. Okay.
Yeah.
We live in a very, very prestigious neighborhood, but we live in a 600 square foot apartment.
Right.
Okay. And our rent hasn't been raised in 4 years because we have a great relationship with the people. They think we're easy. It's awesome. The closest place we could move to is $3,500 a month. Our place is $2,300. I was laughing. I was like, for $700 a month, I can 10x my living space. It's like, yeah, but you got to live in Kansas.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well,
yeah,
see the
that's the issue right now.
All right, I'll stay in New York. You know.
No, you get where you're at. You know. So I'm like more than happy to spend it, but like I'm like, yeah, even in Texas, you know. So everything where my family's from, everything's bigger in Texas. So you can get a property over there, and it's like $300K, and it's a big mansion over here. But like in here, if you're even just trying to get a home here in Florida, it's starting at like $1 million. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's crazy.
Well, I think when you look to buy a home, right? Let's use your $1 million home example.
Yeah.
Okay. I made a video before. When you buy things, you either buy them for profit or pleasure. You very rarely get to buy them for both. So if you're buying that $1 million home, you're going to take $100,000 and you're going to pay a down payment. Then property taxes in the state of Florida, I think, are like 1.5%. So you're going to pay $15,000 a year in property taxes. And then you're going to have your utilities. And then you're going to have your flood insurance and your homeowner's insurance, which is going to be very expensive in Florida because you're in Tampa, you're in a hurricane zone.
Yeah. There's like hardly any insurance. Like they're not trying to even cover.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you factor that in. Then you factor, okay, you have a home. Now if something breaks, you have to pay for it. You have to you have to refix the appliances. You have to get the furniture. You have to pay for all these little things. And when you have a home, you're going to buy more decorations. You're going to buy all these other little things that you wouldn't buy if you just were in a little apartment because you're like, I don't need it, right? So all of those extra expenses, nobody calculates it. They think, oh, well, if you rent, you're throwing money away. Well, from your property taxes alone, that's $15,000. Most Florida communities, homes, condos, they're all in some kind of HOA. An HOA of the places we were looking at was $2,000 a month. So right there, it's at $3,000 a month of throwing money away, not counting the mortgage interest, not counting the maintenance. And so when you look at renting an apartment for $3,500, $4,000, $5,000, you rent a nice place for $5,000. Or you spend $100,000 up front, then you spend all these other expenses and you're still throwing money away, but you're getting the appreciation. And some people have the psychology of, well, at least it's yours and you own it, but the bank owns it. So,
yeah. And even with a mortgage, do you think it's good to be paying it as soon as possible or
love this question. You want to hear a financial secret that I learned from a financial advisor who's one of the top in the country for 45 years? He calls this his MAP program, Mortgage Acceleration Plan. Okay, MAP. This is the fastest way to pay off your house. Okay, most people say, all right, prepay your mortgage. So you can turn a 30-year mortgage into a 15-year mortgage. So you save all this money in interest. It's not the fastest way. The fastest way to pay off a mortgage with the least amount of money is to take the amount that you would prepay and instead invest into the S&P 500. So let's say your mortgage is $1,500 a month. And you're like, hey, I want to pay, and that's over 30 years. So if we want to cut it in half, I'm going to pay $3,000 a month, $1,500 to principal, and I'll cut it down in 15 years. So what if I took the $1,500 a month and I put it into the S&P 500, dollar cost average that, compounded for 12 years? Typically, you can pay off your house in 12 years instead of 15 with the same amount of money. So then you recaptured 3 years, which is, it saves you, without going through all the math, ends up saving you about 80 grand. In that example, that's on a smaller scale. It's going to save you at least $80,000 in addition to the prepaying your mortgage. So now what do we do with this additional $80,000? Well, we let that compound over the next 50 years and you're looking at $3 million in savings. See, when you do little efficient things like that, the longevity, that's when it really starts to add up.
Wow. That's super valuable when it comes to that. And do you just let the money work for you? Not working for the money.
You know what happens more times than not, Bianca? When you get to that 12-year mark and you think about, hey, I'm going to pay off this mortgage, you realize that money is accumulated enough to where the interest you make on that lump sum is way more than the interest you pay to the bank on the mortgage. Most people don't even end up paying off the mortgage. They just let that money keep compounding instead. And over the course of that 30 years, then it pays off in 30 years, but they have this whole lump sum of money because once they put that into their house, it stops paying them. It only grows at whatever their house appreciates by. So that's what I've seen happen most of the time.
No, it's crazy. Now, especially whenever we're kind of talking about in these stages, they have a lot of kids. What do you feel that, what should parents talk to their kids about when it comes to money or, because especially we're not taught at all how to be able to manage money when we're young. They're not told in the schools, even just anywhere. It's not really told as a kid. So what would you tell parents that they should teach their kids about?
Great question. So the basic things obviously is invest in yourself, in education. People are a believer in education. It's widely accepted that education is the best investment you can make. Invest in yourself, right? Alex Hormozy says invest in the S&Me 500. Okay. But it said the S&P 500.
Yeah, I love that.
So some people believe that invest in yourself means go to college, get a doctorate degree. There's different degrees. Some people means personal development. Some is mentors, different things like that. So education. Okay. You have education, then you go ahead and you learn basic budgeting principles. Dave Ramsey talks a lot. Spend less than you make, right? The basic money concepts that you cannot refute. Be organized with your money, track your money, spend less than you make, take the difference, save it somewhere, and then when you have some money, be able to invest it. Now, one of the things that we do for a lot of our clients, and I know it's a controversial topic on the internet, is we actually utilize life insurance as a savings vehicle for children. Why? Because essentially, with the right policy, and we typically will use whole life contracts, over time, you're going to get about 6%. If you look at the historical rates, you're going to get 6% tax-free. That's not why you do it. That's one of the reasons why you do it, but it diversifies your risk. Here's how you teach your kids to use money. The life insurance policy becomes their own bank account. Whenever they need money to start a business, to buy their first home, to buy a car, to go to school, to get married, to have kids, they borrow the money from the insurance and then pay it back into the insurance. They create their own banking system. Now, this does several things. From a generational wealth perspective, it ensures that money is going to continue to be passed down because when they die, their kids will inherit the death benefit. But it teaches them the responsibility of how to use money while the money is going in a tax-advantaged and risk-advantaged environment. And so we'll teach people responsibility to that.
To start making your kids money. Well,
You invest with your kids, not for your kids. So I would show them what we're doing, teach them how it works, and just show them the life experiences. Expose them to it. Sorry to cut you off. The one thing I would add, expose them early. So think about this. When you take a kid at 5 years old, an English-speaking American kid, and you start teaching them Spanish at 5 years old. By 15, they won't have an accent. They'll be able to speak Spanish and English, both in you can't, if they only spoke Spanish, you wouldn't believe that they spoke English. And if they only spoke English, you wouldn't believe that they spoke Spanish, right? Now take a 22-year-old and teach them how to, that speaks English and teach them how to speak Spanish. At 30, same time difference, they'll still have an accent when they speak Spanish, right? When you teach your kids how to use a credit card, how to pay off a credit card, how to borrow from life insurance, how to see money going into an investment, how to going through the budgets with you, seeing what bills. If you expose them at 8, by 18, it's a part of their life. They're comfortable with it. If you don't, they'll never get it figured out to where there's no accent.
You have to prime them early. Because they're easily to absorb everything, when it comes to it. Wow, that's really great. That's a good reference whenever you put it into it.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, Landon, if you had to give, for the viewers, one piece of financial wisdom to end it off, what would it be?
One piece of financial wisdom? Find a way to be more valuable. So, for example, they say that you want to be around wealthy people. You want to be around high-value people. Do high-value people want to be around you? If the answer is no, then you need to figure out how to become more valuable to get around more valuable people. That would be the biggest thing I would say.
Right. You can't take first. You need to give before you take.
But if you have nothing to give,
right?
That's just the standard thing. I realize my wife and I look at this sometimes, and we meet these couples, and they want to spend time with us, but we don't really want to spend time with them. But then we meet these couples that are killing it, crushing it. And we want to spend time with them, but they don't want to spend time with us. And it's like, oh, right. They don't see us as being able to provide value to them. Because people are selfish, right?
Right.
So we need to level up to where we can bring value to those people. And it's not a bad thing, by the way, to be like, I'm not bringing enough value to this person. You don't need every person in your life. But if you want certain people, you need to be able to bring value to them.
100%. Well, Landon, thank you so much. This is very insightful. I've learned quite a few things when it comes to how I can be able to manage my money. Also ways and, overall, it can really be articulate into the mindset and how you view money
Mhm.
to expand it further.
Mhm.
And, ending it off, proximity is power.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Well, thank you so much. And we'll catch you into the next one.
Thanks, Bianca. I hope you guys got value from this video. If you want to take this from being just some generalized knowledge that feels good to something specifically tailored to you and your situation, click the link below, speak to one of our financial professionals, and we'll help map out what is the next financial step for you. We're here to educate you, here to serve you, and overall make an impact in your life however we can. Talk to you soon.